Chico's gonna give you what? Rev is gonna give you what? Ben is gonna give you what? All three are gonna give you the Big D. Chico's gonna give you what? Rev is gonna give you what? Ben is gonna give you what? All three are gonna give you the Big D. Chico, Rev, and Ben, yep, they're at it again. Breaking down the team, putting stats up in your head. Nothing left unsaid, they're leaving it all on the field. Just like the favorite team, raising 2 cups and with shield. The knowledge isn't real for a trio so true to representing the great red, white, and blue. And you love them too, that you can't deny. So just one time, let me hear Dallas till I die. Chico's gonna give you what? Rev is gonna give you what? Ben is gonna give you what? All three are gonna give you the Big D. Chico's gonna give you what? Rev is gonna give you what? Ben is gonna give you what? All three are gonna give you the Big D. Soccer podcast? Huh.
Oh, that was a quick stop there. All right, we are live. Welcome everybody to Big D After Dark. When the lights go dim, we're just getting started. That's right, we go live. When the lights go dim, we go live, and we're here to talk about, and probably maybe in the last After Dark live show of the year. I haven't checked my calendar, but I think it might be. We might do another one next week. We'll see. To talk about offseason, talk about recent FC Dallas news, and the news has come fast and furious this week, so we're excited to get to it, and we want you to know that you can send in comments, questions live, whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube and or on Twitch, and you can, I will see those, and I will make sure we get to those and ask our panel of experts, aficionados here about the game, the beautiful game. We'll get those questions out to them, so we're just glad you're joining us. Of course, this is brought to you by BigDSoccer.com. Just a good community talking about FC Dallas. So, of course, I'm Nathan Hill. You can follow me at Nathan J. Hill there with his webcam still out of commission until maybe a big fat guy in a red suit brings him something. Is Ben Lyon at Bird Turgler. We got the square.
Yeah, Santa ain't bringing me shit this year.
Okay, well, we can always dream. All right, and then on the bottom left there is Jose Carmona, El Chico Carmona, and he has been working the rumor transfer stuff a lot. And then there on the bottom right is our guest today, Tommy Smith. You might know him from @Tom_FC Dallas on Twitter. We're just glad to welcome a different voice just to chat and figure out how FC Dallas is doing. Let's get to it. Let's get to it with the big news of the week, of the day. FC Dallas made official what had been long rumored, talked about, buzzed about on Twitter, that welcoming a new 27-year-old center back, left-footed center back from Eibar. I don't know how to say this. Is that right? Jose Antonio Martinez from La Liga. What's interesting about Martinez is that he hadn't cracked the first team for Eibar, which is concerning perhaps, but they had loaned him to Granada, and he spent 2 seasons there with them, about 50 starts, helped them achieve promotion. So he's actually, and he spent time with Barcelona B and some other teams, has had some good experience, a veteran kind of guy coming in at an interesting time. And, you know, this kind of replaces the Reto role of a left-footed center back. So let's just talk about this guy. What do you all know about him, and how are you feeling about this acquisition? Ben, let's start with you.
I know very little about him, except that he has the Doge dog, the meme dog, and that he's a shorter left-footed center back, and I hope that works out. One of our occasional posters mentioned that there was a slight deficiency in distribution whenever Nelson and Bressan lined up on the left side last year, and I thought that was a notable observation, and perhaps that's something that Martinez can help alleviate that problem.
So, Jose?
Yeah, I don't know too much about him, in all honesty. I do know that there's a misconception that he couldn't get any La Liga time, because in his 2 years with Granada, his first season is the season that he helped them gain promotion, and he actually spent his second season playing games in La Liga. It's just that for whatever reason, he can't break into the Eibar starting backline. So they know they had a player, who's valuable, and so they decided to make the right move for themselves and for the player, and finding a place where he could get playing time. So, a long-time second division player, that's a good solid level there in Spain. And then he does have some experience, like something like 13 matches or something like that, playing in La Liga. So sounds like a player that just needs to change of scenery, in all honesty. And still in his prime. So this is not some player that's past his prime. This guy is probably where he needs to be, and we get to see if he can push Bressan for that starting position.
Tommy, last but certainly not least, what's your gut on this?
Right, I think it's a depth move. I think he's coming in here to be depth, and I think that he's a solid player for MLS. I think it's a lateral move in my opinion. The stats that I had looked on him, I did see that he's not a starter as well. He's in the reserves on the team that he's on. And I didn't see any red cards. Like I said, I just did some research right before this meeting. And I'm looking at his stats right now. He seems like he's played 2 years everywhere he's been, and he's moved around. So like he's been all over, he hasn't stuck with one team. So I see that as a depth move. I think it's just depth. So I think that tells me maybe we're losing one of our center backs. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, we did already lose Caleb Montgomery, was traded to Minnesota United, and so
and Rito's gone.
Rito's gone, and
Rito is gone for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I stopped short of saying that, but yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think you never know what might happen but I think Rito is probably going to go back to Europe and close out his career there with some squad and ride off in the sunset. The guy's beloved. I still see people tweeting about how after one tough fought match, I forgot which team was, a good team, he cried, and then they're complaining that. Yeah. And they're complaining that their current players will lose that game, and they just walk off laughing, and and they're like, oh.
I heard some drama about Reto that made me believe that he was gone. So, and we saw that in the playoffs, right? Bressan played. But, to his credit, he came in and got the PK, right? And, so, but yeah.
Player.
Yeah,
so this it does seem like Lucci, I have an article coming out on Big D Soccer about this tomorrow, and one of my takeaways from it, I definitely think, and we saw it from this past season, that Lucci likes to have 3 veteran center backs, and of course that's good to have in a long season where you need people to spot start. You're going to lose somebody, like we saw Hedges go down with some injury. You don't necessarily want to throw the kids in right away. You want to put the kids in a place where they can succeed. I understand that, So this makes a lot of sense as a depth move. Maybe he has some upside. Maybe he'll turn it on and really lock down a spot. He'll push Bressan to be better. I don't know, Or maybe it opens up a 5-3-2 kind of thing. But one thing that's interesting is that means, too, for me, that 2021 is not a rebuilding year for FC Dallas. Like, I think this is a veteran signing that they're going to keep competing, and they're not going to think, hey, let's just try to muddle through a year and see where we are in 2022 or whatever. But, like, let's compete on the back line. So I think it's a good signing, but Tommy found one of the YouTubes that I didn't share it widely because it's the only clip I could find too. There's some great clips of him like in practice, like talking. He seems like a really good looking, nice guy, but like game footage.
That was the first thing that I found. Oh my gosh!
And it's a terrible when playing out of the back goes wrong kind of clip. Yeah, just a terrible giveaway that leads to a
But
goal.
it was also not the safest pass, right? It was a hard pass right in front of the goal, and he hard touched it. But that was 4 years ago.
Yeah,
so
it's kind of harsh. So we're all feeling okay about this signing.
Yeah, I just want to add that one of my concerns was that with Rito gone, that Bressan wouldn't get re-signed, and they'd have Che and Nicolas, sleep into one of the starting spots, and I was one of those people that are like, they need to re-sign Bressan. I would rather see Bressan beaten out of that starting spot than it be handed to somebody. And I think that's one thing that I don't think we've talked about is with Lucci in this past season. The one thing that's changed is that he's not handing, we all want him to play the kids, but he's not handing them any starting spots. They got to earn it, except unless your name's Jesus. But other than that, he didn't hand Reynolds the starting spot. Reynolds didn't start right away. It's just that Reynolds, once given a shot, never let it go. Same thing with Tessman. Tessman was given a shot and basically earned more and more playing time because of his play. But you could see that unless your name is Jesus, all the other young guys,
I love Jesus.
I love Jesus too, but there's no doubt that he seemed to take a step back this past season, and we all want to see him. We all want to see him grow and find his spot.
Well, my quick take on Jesus is that when I seen him get the ball with a little space in the box, he scores. And I hadn't seen him have that space this year. Now, I wonder why coach is playing him in midfield, because I had a conversation with the Dallas coach that says he's not the same player as his dad. He's a different player. So that took to me, he's not a midfielder. So sometimes I wonder if he's playing midfield because of lack of players, because I think he's not a midfielder. He's more of an up front guy or false nine or target guy. You got Josh.
I mean, I think we can all agree that Hara's arrival probably hurt Jesus the most, in all honesty.
Right, Ben?
Man, I don't know. I don't know whether Hara kept him from taking a step this year, or if it was just other stuff. I mean, I know he had coronavirus, and the way that affects people. I mean, it's different for everybody. And
That's
so
true.
I mean, it's possible that the after effects of that held him back a little bit this year.
Yeah, and I would also say, I mean, Hara hasn't, exactly flourished in this system this year. I mean, one thing we all have to realize is that this roster is a new roster. I mean, they haven't played together for ages. I mean, it takes whiles for teams to gel, like the Barcelona concept, right? I mean, these are all players playing with each other for the first time, really. Ricarte came in midseason. You have Hara who came midseason, and it just, you didn't see the gel, right? I mean, Hara didn't even flourish. So
I agree with that assessment.
Jesus Ferreira got called up to USA. He got called up. He's good. I'm telling you, I seen the guy touch the ball. I mean, he's got talent. I mean, we haven't seen it under Gonzalez, but give it time.
I agree.
He led the team in goals last year, so we got a taste of it.
Exactly. He had an off year, no doubt.
I can't explain the sophomore slump for him. I can't.
Me either. It's a little shocking. I expected more, but I still I like the guy. I think he's got it still going up.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, it's hard to judge 2020 because of this. That's why grading this season is so weird, because we Thomas Roberts also on that
Chum chat. Yep.
A little thing that he does with his buddies there, including Tanner Tessman and Johan Gomez. He said he had coronavirus, and so just what does that mean to? What does it do to a player's body, and and all the disruptions in schedule that they've had to face? It was just a weird season, and still FC Dallas made something positive out of it, despite a lot of things not clicking. So, well, let's transition because we got more things to get to. Let's talk about other re-signing news this week. Again, news came fast and furious for FC Dallas. Felipe, the Brazilian goalkeeper who's likely going to spend some time over the summer in the Olympics with the Brazilian U23 team, his loan was extended, which is pretty interesting news. We got to see one game out of him, and I didn't get to watch that game, I think, or all of it live, but I heard some good things from you guys about it. So he's a possible youth guy. So FC Dallas still has a chance to take that deal, maybe purchase him for about $2.5 million or so. Whether that number is still accurate, we're not sure. And then Bressan, of course, re-signed with a 1-year deal with 2 option years, which is a really interesting deal. And probably good for him in this strange market, so he has some stability. FC Dallas has a chance to look at him a little bit longer and see if he's a long-term fit, or look at this Martinez or whatever. But it does mean some stability on the back line as well, at least going into 2021. And Bressan did come on really well toward the end of the season. So I mean, I think the Felipe deal. We'll start with him. I mean, what's y'all's gut on this? Tommy, we'll start with you this time. Did you see from him in limited action something worth?
No, and I was really got to hand it to Mara. Mara had an excellent year, and I was really doubting it because he was the third keeper. I think why is he the third keeper? Is it size? What is it? Is it age? I don't know, but he really played well, and I'm still wondering if it was just a flash in the bottle, lightning in the bottle, whatever you call it, or whatever. Is he going to be the same next year? But Mara did great. I don't know, keeper. I really used to love Gonzalez, Jesse, and it's so sad that he's not here because he was really such a good keeper, right? I don't know about our keeper. I still don't know. I hope it's the same. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Jose.
So anyway, I actually did like what I saw from him. I mean, sure, he looked like a player who hadn't played in a while, but you saw that athleticism that you don't see from Marr. So Marr probably has the best positioning of any keeper I've seen. And it's his positioning and his communication. You got to love the fact you have to stay. Right. You can hear him barking out orders, and you can see that he's got that command of that back line. And that's what he is. He's a keeper that's not going to lose you games, but he's not a keeper who's going to win you games, which is why he was Jesse's backup, because Jesse could make those incredible saves out of nowhere. And I think Felipe flashes that. He's not a big keeper though. That's the size, but he flashes that athleticism and speed. But he's lacking the other things now. Yeah. As far as the Olympics, he's expected to be the starter for the Brazilian team and the Olympics. So, I mean, you're talking about as far as upside, he's got a ton of upside, and Dallas knows that. I don't know if it's 2.5 million worth, but maybe they talked that down when they extended the. I hope they did. I hope they said, "Hey, we'll take him for another year," because Grêmio has a glut of goalkeepers, and I think he's their 5th keeper. And what I heard is the only reason that he's their 5th keeper is because Grêmio loves tall goalkeepers, and all the other goalkeepers are 6'4", and he's 6 foot. So it's the old Drew Brees is too short to be a quarterback argument. But in soccer.
And how tall is Mara?
Nick Ramondo's too short to be a goalkeeper.
Same height. They're both the same height. They're both 6 foot tall. Like I said, the only difference is rawer, greener, more athletic. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I hope that they give him several starts, and hopefully the return of the U.S. Open Cup will go a long ways towards getting him that playing time.
Ben, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, not with Felipe, no. I mean, I concur with pretty much all of that. I definitely see him as a potential upgrade over Maurer, who, despite having a good season, I mean, I think we can see what his limits are.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And not just us. I mean, our opponents can see what his limits are. So So you have to wonder if some of those set piece setups, like the one that, I'm not blaming it on him, but I'm saying it was designed basically saying, hey, we've got a less athletic keeper. If we can work it to a certain angle, he won't be able to get to it. So let's face it, that's the thing with MLS. Teams game plan around players. If your left back is slow, they're going to put the fast guy over there. So it's no different for keepers. You got a shorter keeper, you're going to try to blind him, block his view, all sorts of stuff like that. So yeah, I think, but is it enough? Is the potential enough? And the only thing that concerns me is that the value, 2.5 million. That's a lot.
If that's still, you're right. If that's still because there was some chatter going on the Twitter that FC Dallas did purchase him or going to purchase him in the summer. Now that could be sneaky good business if he has a great Olympics and garners interest, and then FC Dallas sort of has first dibs, and then could even then turn around and sell him to some other team who's willing to pay. But who knows?
So the rumor on that is that Sonata has been doing the interviews in Brazil, and has stated that something along the lines of they extended his loan with the intention of purchasing him in the summer. That's basically what the quote has been tossed around. That supposedly Gremio is already they're already budgeting ahead, thinking that they're going to be getting the money from that sale.
Well, that's fascinating.
So from the Gremios, that's what I'm hearing from Gremios, that as far as they're concerned, they've been assured that after the loan, Dallas will be purchasing him. So you have to wonder if they did actually. Hopefully, they brought that price down a bit.
Well, that's exciting. And look, I trust the team. If he's the better athletic long-term thing, why not? Jimmy and Zobek, I think, they were extended another year, so they're not necessarily the long-term pieces. They could be, but yeah, there are a lot of questions. Well, let's get back to the second part of this, Bressan, because this is the part where we can all have our different opinions on this player. Bressan is back with the team, likely slotting back in, Hedges picking up right where they left off. And, we've seen this guy for 2 years. We've had all these kinds of mixed reviews. Jose's kind of been up on him. Some of us, that should have been a second yellow against Seattle.
Oh, that was a direct red in my opinion.
Or a direct red. Maybe an orange, right? However you want to argue. But that's
what was he thinking there? Yeah,
I don't know.
But you gotta give him credit because he didn't get it, because it's a veteran move. Veterans know how to sell certain things, and let's face it, it's Seattle. If it's Seattle, trust me, if they could find an excuse to give you a red against Seattle, they'll give you a red against Seattle.
I think the whistle had blown on the play was dead. I guess you could have given him a red, but on that. But I wanted to say is the Burgess, the young guy, we didn't see any minutes from him this year. I was really hoping to see him at least get some minutes, but that guy is going to be a beast. He looked great when I saw him play. He's a center back on our team, so we'll see if he gets some minutes this year.
Yeah. Like I said, like Nathan was saying, I like what I've seen from Bressan, in all honesty. I think he has some tendencies that need to be, that they need to work with him to stop doing, like the whole pretending he's a midfielder and charging up the field with the ball. Not his strength, but maybe he's used to playing a 3-back line. But other than that, I think he's on par with Rado from what I saw, and this guy.
I think he attacked Rado.
Well, obviously, I think he surpassed him, but I think that has more to do with Rado's taking a step back than Bressan taking a step forward. That. I think so, but I think he gives us a solid center back, and if this Martinez guy is any good, then we'll have a battle there for that position, and that's what we need. We need competition. We need Bressan to be pushed to be better, to keep that job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is versatile. You remember he had played outside back too. So
he started at right back a couple of games.
And he hit, I don't think he got beat at left or back when he played right back. Where
no, and that's why I wonder. Some people say that he's slow. I didn't think he was slow. I mean, he's not fast, but I didn't think he was. They were comparing him to Rito. Some players were comparing him to Rito as on foot speed, and I thought that was wrong.
It's just that he'll. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think it's more so that he maybe goes forward a bit too much and maybe is too far ahead to be able to come back. He doesn't have the speed to go out that far. So, like I said, I think that's coachable. That's something you can coach out of him and show him a little more discipline, and I think he'll be rock solid.
Well, just like that foul where we're talking about where he got the yellow, or it could have been a red. I mean, he'll play a great game, but then there's one or two things here and there where he got beat or left his man behind or whatever. It's just that one play where you're giving up. It's just not solid. 100%.
I agree.
It's like when Ben and I go to the buffet. We have that second plate, and then we go for the third, and we're always like, is that a good decision or not?
Sometimes I think our center backs attack too high, whether it's Hedges or whoever. But I'd like to see our midfielders take the ball up, because I think that when we bring our center backs too high, we get beat on the counter.
Yep, I agree with that.
Ben, I need to hear your voice. Are you feeling positive about this?
I mean, so far so good in the off season. Like I'm excited for Reynolds to make his big move. I hope Tommy makes a big move. And the acquisitions look like they will be adequate to push the team to the next level. At least so far. I mean, we'll see. I had high hopes for Hara last year, and he was pretty much Christian Coleman.
I agree with that, but at the same time, I think you got to hope that Hara just simply was having the half season, summer transfer curse.
I like Hara.
That all FCD players seem to have. Ricardo seems to be the only guy that had kryptonite to that. But you kind of hope that maybe with the full off season with the team, Hara will hopefully be a little more consistent next season, and he won't have Rito to steal his penalty kicks.
I am really excited for a full season of Ricarte. I mean, he pulled out some big tricks in Seattle. He was so smooth and crafty on the ball. Oh my God!
Yes.
Yeah, he's a Lucci guy for sure.
And I like that they played him higher against Seattle, which, let's face it, there were several times in the season where he was asked to play further back, and I know he can play that, and I still would rather see him far more forward as opposed to coming back and helping on defense.
Well, I think ideally he's going to end up like that if Lucci has the team and the components to play the style that he wants to play. Then I think he will play more advanced.
You were saying, Tommy?
Oh, I was going to say, he came mid-season, right? So I mean, it was like, hey, here's your new players, So I mean, learning how players react on the field, he did well. And I would say also that I love the hustle from our left winger who's now traded to Houston. Really fast and played his heart out. But in the final third, I don't think he helped Hara or Ricarte out by just that extra little move or whatever, just not to lose the ball, to hit an open person, to get more balls in the box. There were a few games where he did have a breakout game, but that sometimes that's relative to who you're playing. But, remember when we had Diaz and we had Castillo, and on the other side we had the goals were coming, right? So this guy Jader, man, if he's coming in, and I mean, the question is though, where does Barrios fit? Because in the playoffs, Barrio was a super sub, and that was kind of odd, right? So,
let's get to that. Because you're right. Pico has gone traded to Houston for some Garber bucks, and then Santiago Mosquera, despite being despite this hat trick every full moon. I don't know what it was. If there's someone who needs to do the scientific research on that, and why this hat trick would just come out of nowhere. But they're both gone, and Fafa was a little shocking to me because I thought he at least had a role as a nice veteran depth piece, even if he wasn't going to start every game. He was nice, change of pace. He was a good guy too, a really decent, solid dude, good leader. But the news out of Colombia, Heider Obrian, 25-year-old speedy winger, 13 goals in 22 matches in 2020, at least according to Wikipedia. Who knows with Wikipedia, whatever. But this guy, nicknamed the Soldier, Soldado,
Yeah,
I love it already.
I love it
He
already.
missed- here's the true thing. He was tied for the Golden Boot going into the playoffs, and he only lost the race because his team got eliminated before the other guy's team. So the other guy was able to score a goal in an added match to win the Golden Boot. But he was actually tied for the Golden Boot at the time that they got eliminated from the Liguilla. So yeah, I mean, I hear, by the way, that supposedly one of the rumors I've heard is that Ricarte was very high on him. That Ricarte was one of Ricarte's suggestions, a guy that he would like to see on the team. So you have to wonder about that. That's great if that's the case. I mean, let's face it. You bring in new players and you say, "Hey, who in the league? What young player have you seen that you think is people are missing out on?" And apparently, this is one of the guys that Ricardo said, "I like to see him come to Dallas."
I think that answers your question. Why are we so poppy? I mean, Picard, because this guy's just going to come in and it's like.
So here's my take on Fafa, and I am actually not surprised he's gone. Because we all remember the good things that he did, but at the same time, there were many times where he disappeared in matches, where he was non-insistent. And the biggest issue he had, and something he never corrected, was that he tended to make the same runs as Jara. And so he was kind of in the way. When you see Jara and your left winger making the same run, that's really not going to help the club, And so Picard, for whatever reason, was simply in the way, and that's in the attack. He was great. He did great on help, and he was great at making those runs. But once he got inside the box, he was basically a hindrance, and you can't have that. That's one of the issues with Picard, and that's why he had to go. It's like, I'm sorry, man. He's 29. He's not gonna make. He is what he is. So you're not going to be able to change him too much. So you have to wonder if, in my opinion, that's one of the reasons it's like, all right. And I'm sorry, but I'm one of the few guys that was high on Santi when he was, the few times he was healthy.
You already forgot his name.
I had something in my throat. Sorry, but it's, Santi. And the reason for that is because there were very few players on the club that could actually take players one-on-one and beat them, and Santi was one of them. I'm sorry, there wasn't. That's what we were missing. We're missing that one guy that could basically make something out of nothing, and that's why he got the hat trick. Because the one time he was healthy, if you saw some of those, I mean, that one goal, he basically picked the guy's pocket and basically took it to the house, and that's why they kept him around. But because he can't stay healthy, they had to let him go. And I'm not surprised that he ends up in Liga MX, because they're seeing the same thing. They're like, hey, if we can just find a way to keep this guy healthy, you can see that he has it offensively.
Yeah, he's very strong. He's got the size. He's very good in the box with tight space, but he was never fit. He never hustled like Picard. If you could put the two together and make one, you'd have a great player. Right? But
you have to pick your poison. You
don't get defense with this guy. You get defense with the other guy. The other guy doesn't get, it's just, hopefully this just Jader guy has got everything. So we'll see.
All right, good stuff. We're excited about this guy. I think we're excited to see what is possible, but but it's exciting. It's an exciting time. And the question is too, I think that Obrian plays maybe as a right winger more, so the question will be, can he play on the left? How's that going to work out with Barrios?
And that just, I've told people maybe I said it in the chat, maybe I haven't said it on Twitter, but that just reinforces my opinion that it's going to be Paxton who's going to be a starting left winger next season. Let's face it, they cleared out the left wing. They're bringing in another winger, but he's not a left winger. He's
Are they done?
And I think Paxton's going to be our starting left wing. And honestly, if he can't play in the midfield, why not play him on the left wing? I know we'd rather see him as that 10, but there is no 10 in Lucci's system. He's got to play as an 8. And he's not going to get ahead of Ricarte. He's not going to take Santos' place. And I'm sorry, but Tessman right now looks like the real deal and a guy that needs to start. And then you got a Costa ahead of him. There's this huge glaring hole in left wing, and he can play that spot. And I'm thinking that's why they cleared out the left wing. They're going to give that to Paxton, and they'll probably add some depth piece either in the draft or through a trade. And we haven't even talked about the biggest rumored addition, that's that Dineno. I mean, what does that say if that is true?
Yeah.
The rumored Dineno addition. I mean, I think that doesn't happen until Reynolds gets sold, because I'm hearing that's a big purchase. I'm hearing $3 million minimum. That's the lowest one I've heard, but I've heard as high as $8 million.
This is a striker, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a striker, 26 years old. I mean, this guy's a pure 9 in his prime. Everyone says he's, not the fastest player, but they're saying if you get that guy anywhere inside the box, he is lethal. I mean, everywhere he's gone, people love this guy. And I can tell you that the Pumas fans are still holding out against hope that he'll be brought back. So right now, like I said, it's still just a rumor. It's coming from ESPN though, and honestly, that guy's the only guy. Solis, right? He's the only guy who's basically stuck his neck out and said, "This is happening." I've been told that. Now we can't get any confirmation from anywhere else, so it's wait and see. But he's not going to come cheap. So this is not a move that happens unless Reynolds gets sold.
This would definitely be a DP, designated player signing, because especially we saw Martinez as just a TAM player. So this would definitely be that open DP slot.
And Martinez is a TAM player, and Jader is a TAM player at best. So we do have a DP open spot, and the only real question is those two will take up the last 2 international spots. So if you're adding another international, somebody's got to go. And I know there's some people here cheering for Acosta to be gone, and honestly, I'd like to see Acosta get another turn, but at the same time, we're producing so many young midfielders and stuff that I won't be heartbroken if he is gone.
I like Acosta, and I'm surprised he didn't play in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, he was injured. He was hobbled, and honestly, I don't think we've seen the best. Him. I think he's missed a lot. In all honesty, people haven't noticed that he's going along the lines of Santi lately. In all honesty, and like I said, he's looked good when he has played. He just hasn't played enough.
There's so much to talk about, and I think Danilo is, as long as he, it's a rumor right now. We'll have to wait and see, because I know there's some chatter that's just a smoke screen or something. But let's shift toward. Let's just shift toward.
Heard,
okay.
One more thing. I've heard that Pumas did actually offer him up to other Liga MX teams. So like I said, it's not a done deal. Supposedly Dallas has an offer on him, but that's why you're not hearing anything, is because they're not alone. There's other teams interested. So yeah, it's not a for sure thing. But the only thing that brings it back to is the only reason that Dallas is considered the front runner is because Dallas is willing to pay everything up front. Mm-hmm. The other teams that have made offers, maybe better offers than Dallas, want to pay in payments. And that team is hard up for cash. They are. And they need money now. They don't need money later, because they got to pay their players on their roster, and they got to pay. They got to do all that. So that's why Dallas is front runner. Dallas is willing to pay up front. Here's everything. He's ours. And now now Pumas will have the money to not worry about how they're going to pay their players and all that stuff. And that's honestly the beauty of the that's what MLS brings. Why is MLS starting to get these Colombians and these other players? This really, I mean, Jader is a top 11 player in Colombia. Ricard is a top 11 player in Colombia. Dineno is a top 11 player in Liga MX. Why do these players want to come to the U.S.? Stability. The money here is good. You don't have to worry about those checks bouncing.
That's
what MLS has.
That's kind of like when you said that. It reminded me of the Ricarte. That's one. I remember reading an article. Dan Hunt said, "Well, we were able to get Ricarte because of the financial situation." And I always had in the back of my head that the MLS structure could change overnight because all it takes is signing people to come over here. We could all of a sudden become a powerhouse in soccer by just other countries not being able to pay their players, for example, in this situation. And overnight, we got the players, right? So that could be it as well as the financial.
One more thing I'd like to add, Nathan, before you move on. Sorry,
All right.
My apologies. But of course, you hear the French teams have dropped out of the Reynolds. That's one of the rumors, is that the French teams have dropped out of the Reynolds chase, and the reason for it is their TV deal fell through. They had a $1 billion plus TV deal that was signed about 2 years ago. And so all these clubs were expecting to be getting that money, and that deal collapsed like a week ago. So that money that they were all thinking they were going to have, that they all planned and went out and bought all these players with, we're talking League One, the entire league. They're not getting it. And so now a lot of teams that spent a lot of money suddenly don't have that money they were expecting to come in. So their League One is suddenly doesn't have the money to go out and get the players they want, and they may have to sell. It's not all the teams. I mean, it's not going to affect PSG. It's not going to affect all the teams, but it's going to affect a lot of teams.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's where we'll kind of close out tonight. It's getting on. We usually try to go about a half hour, maybe a little more, sometimes longer. But and I know this topic is worth a lot of discussion. And of course, it's Bryan Reynolds. It's been this fascinating rise that we have got to see with our very own eyes as FC Dallas fans, and it's really what this team. Of course, before this, let's keep in mind we saw Reggie Cannon. We saw him grow up and to be a stellar right back, and then get sold to oh my gosh, Boa Vista in Portugal. Boa Vista. Yep. And we're so excited for him, and he's doing well there. And was possibilities he might already be on the move in January.
Move again. Yeah.
That's not going to happen, guys, by the way.
That's probably not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. They reportedly got like a €5 million offer from a team, and Boa Vista then turned around and said, nope, €10 million or we don't want to hear it. And so Boa Vista kind of put the foot down, and they outpriced him. So the possibility that Reggie is going to move, unless somebody forks over €10 million, it's not happening. And most teams value him at half that. So Boa Vista is sticking to their guns. They know he's going to be worth more after a full season in Portugal than he is worth now.
Well then, but our main focus is in Bryan Reynolds coming into that starting right back position and excelling and growing, an exciting player. We heard earlier on, Lucci said that he maybe wasn't quite ready yet, but the kid has done everything that he's needed to do. Even I have to say, in that Seattle game, both Portland and Seattle game, he wasn't maybe at his best. He looked like he maybe struggled a little bit, but he held Jordan Morris and Lodero to 0 goals in the run of play along with the defense. So you can't ask for much more than that for a kid getting his first playoff starts. Latest rumors are that they're negotiating with Roma, Juve, and Club Brugge. But Roma is the one that has potentially put an offer around $10 million for.
So got to take that.
So Brugge has actually also been verified as having put in an offer. The only one that hasn't been verified is Juve, but Roma and Brugge have both reportedly made offers.
Woo! That's some good money.
Exciting.
That's some good. That's a big deal. Ben, you got?
I'm hanging on every word of Fourth Degree right now.
You gotta love Fourth Degree. That guy's great.
Big bad. What big bad MLS, is that what they're going as now? But yeah, I mean,
AKA my leader.
now here's the thing. Yeah, like I think that's right. That it's not just about the money. It's also about the situation. And Juve may not have put in a deal offer yet. The rumor is they're coming in later this week. But the question is, is that the right deal? If Bryan goes over, then immediately gets loaned out to some other club, or Roma's situation might be different. Brugge's situation might be different. This is the challenging thing. But wow, it's exciting, right? Ben, I mean, I'm sure you've been following Bryan Reynolds for a while. You've followed some of the FC Dallas youth teams for a while. Just how are you feeling about all this?
Man, I'm so stoked. And I got a funny story, especially if he ends up at Juventus. So actually, I was the stringer for the club whenever they did the academy double back in 2016, because I lived out in LA, and that's where they had the finals there. And the U16s featured Cervania and Jesus Ferreira, who was clearly like a cut above everybody else on the field. But before the game started, Daniel Robertson, aka the godfather of all of us at Big D Soccer, he called me up and said, "Okay, you look for this kid. It's a really tall kid. He could be the next Ronaldo, or he could be nothing. But he's playing up a year, and his name's Bryan Reynolds." And I mean, like, it was totally unfair. He looked like he was playing with little kids out there, because Bryan is what you would like to call a early bloomer. I mean, like, he was taller than I am. Like, I'm over 6 foot tall. He was taller than me when he was 14. And he just, like, it was funny watching him out there. And of course, the U16s dominated the Galaxy at their home field. I mean, it was just absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, I'd like to see him go from, like, even like going up a year and dominating at that level, and then that steady progression that has seen him go from the groomed replacement for Reggie Cannon to being like a 8-figure transfer deal to a big club is just amazing.
He'd become the biggest American domestic player sold on MLS, if I believe, homegrown, that is, because everyone talks about Davis, but he's Canadian.
Yeah,
Davis is the biggest homegrown sell.
Yeah,
but he would actually be the biggest American homegrown sell if it goes through.
It's amazing.
Well, that day out in LA, Davies was actually supposed to be playing for Vancouver, but he was already playing with the big boys, and Weston McKennie was supposed to be out there too, but he was already planning on going to Schalke.
Yep, he had already packed his bags. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy, you said it earlier. How do you turn this offer down? And I know you got to weigh those other factors, but this is a realization for FC Dallas, right, of this dream to be a selling club.
Yeah, I think Reynolds needs to play at a higher level. He needs to be pushed. He did shut down, and he did great against the Seattle and Jordan Morris, but he needs to go up against better players, become a better defender. I mean, his defending is good. I wouldn't say he's an excellent defender, but he's got the height, he's got the speed, he's got great crosses into the box. He's very good in the final third. And those crosses that he was doing, whether it's the over the lob cross or the square ball to the middle to the forwards, he is right on. And he was, in my opinion, he was much better than Reggie in the final third, and much faster than Reggie. And Reggie was great too, But I think that he needs to go play at the higher level, and he should go right away. He should go, yeah.
Well,
I would like to add to that. Go ahead, Ben.
I was gonna say, it's like, Barry Sanders, like, he was on the bench at Oklahoma State playing behind a guy named Thurman Thomas, who was like a future Hall of Famer.
I remember them.
And then he had that year after Thurman left where he broke like every record.
I was just gonna say, add that don't forget that even though he only had 4 assists on the year, Reynolds, that is, he probably would have had more of the guys, playing and in the attack for Dallas could actually score, because many of those crosses were where they needed to be. There was just some very poor follow-up on some of those. So, I mean, he should have had way more than 4 assists, and I think the other teams can see that and said, hey, our guys would have put that in the net. You know, imagine if this guy's crossing for us.
Good stuff. Yeah, it's an exciting time. And I know fans are frustrated. FC Dallas fans get a little frustrated because they want to see these guys. Like, they want to see another. We all would love to see another season of Bryan Reynolds grow here with FC Dallas. But on the other hand, an infusion of 10 million or so.
10 million,
club,
yeah.
Like, you know, it allows you to bring in guys like Obrian or maybe a Danilo. You know, it allows you to do some other things and continue to develop the next guys up. And they got some good guys up who may compete for that position. A lot of opportunities, and other young guys like Tanner Tessman who are getting looks and getting attention as well coming down the line. So
the 2 guys that I read about is Tessman and Pepe. And actually, one I just read was Pepe and Reynolds together at Juventus is looking at both.
It's exciting stuff.
I just want to add one thing I want to bring up, and that's the most long shot of all the rumors is the Nicolas Benedetti rumor. I just want to point out that no one is saying that Dallas is trying to acquire him or that they've made an offer for him. The wordage on that was that they are interested in him. And you have to remember that Acosta has a year left on his DP contract. So my guess is that Benedetti is a player that they're going to keep an eye on for next season as probably a replacement, a player that they're going to try to go after once a DP spot opens. So that was my take on it. Is I'm sure they're following several players, but Benedetti, Club America, or is that Club America, right? Or is it Tigres? I forget. He's one of those 2. I think it's Tigres, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
I think it's Tigres. I think he's Tigres. And anyway, 23-year-old attacking midfielder, a little too rich for Dallas to bring in at the moment. He'd be about $3.5 million or more. And if you're making the Dineno move, you're not gonna spend $3 million on one player. They go spend $3 million on another player unless you have a DP roster spot open.
Many years past, we'd be like the week before starting season, and when we're going to sign anyone, right? It's not Christmas yet, and we already got 2 coming in. So if Lucci has done that and changed the culture, then I praise Lucci, because Lucci said, hey, I want 2 competitive players at each position, and if he got Dan to do that, then I applaud Lucci. Because there's been a change, right?
I actually give the credit to Sonata. I mean, you got a guy who came in from Gremio who's used to doing big-time deals, and he's come in, and he's the guy driving the Reynolds sale. He's the guy who drove the Cannon sale. I mean, let's face it. There's a notable change in the past year of how business is being done in Dallas, and you have to give Sonata credit for that. And people don't realize he was a massive signing for Dallas. This is a guy that anytime there's an opening in Brazil or anywhere in South America, he's one of the top 3 names that pop up, and everyone goes, we should go get Sonata from Dallas because he's beloved in Brazil.
With the COVID and the people not being able to go to the games, you're relying on TV money. It's incredible for Dan Hunt to be signing players before Christmas. And I applaud it. I'm very happy to see the team trying to win.
I think I talked about it on our chat, was you weren't private to it, but it may be that the COVID, they want to get people in early, get the quarantine stuff out of the way and whatnot. So I love it. There's a sense of urgency to the signings, and I think the fans are appreciating that.
Well, it's good stuff. Well, we're going to leave it there tonight. Thank you all for joining us, for joining our Big D After Dark. Tommy, it's great to have you on tonight.
Finally meet you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Pleasure.
That was fun.
It was a pleasure.
And we want everyone to have a safe and happy holidays the next couple weeks. So especially with the virus continuing to spread, be safe, wash your hands, wear a mask, do whatever you need to do. And of course, check out BigDSoccer.com. We'll be following the news and the the rumors as they come out and seeing what's coming in. Of course, we're waiting for the news to drop. And it may not drop until after January 1st, in all likelihood, of Bryan Reynolds' deal actually being done when the winter transfer window opens. As well, we're waiting for Obrian, which could happen tomorrow, could happen any day now, and other news. So, yeah, chat with us, hang out with us, and hopefully we'll see you in another week or two to talk more about the latest FC Dallas offseason news and this coming season. All right. Good, great. All right, happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
All right, happy holidays. Good night, Ben. Good night, guys.
Hey.
Thank you.
Ciao.